Welcome to CBJ in 30, presented by Pedialyte. Here at Nationwide Arena, this is, to me, the worst day of the year. The worst day of the hockey season. That's the day after the hockey season ends. It is exit day. And what that means is the players come in, they have their final team meeting. Some will have individual meetings, either with the coaches or the general manager. They will gather their things, and then very soon they will be headed on their way to wherever they may be going to spend the summer. So it's a bit of a sad day, and especially for this Blue Jackets team that worked so hard and at the very end got themselves back into the playoff race. They were in that race for 81 games. They finished just 2 points out of a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference, and it's very frustrating to them. We'll hear from a couple of players coming up here in just a moment. But this team, just over a week ago, was pretty much resigned to the fact that they weren't going to be in the playoffs. And then they started a winning streak, and they just kept winning all the way to the end of the season. The Blue Jackets finished the year on a 6-game winning streak, the final game a 6-1 victory over the New York Islanders. The Blue Jackets were really sparked by goaltender Jet Greaves. He came up just before the Buffalo game a little over a week ago. Came up from Cleveland, played in Cleveland on a Wednesday, came up and played against Buffalo on a Thursday. Played 4 games in 5 days, won every single one of them, and just really set the tone for the Blue Jackets. And then guys that had been stepping up all year continued to do just that. Adam Fantilli finishes the season with 31 goals. Kirill Marchenko had over 30 goals. You had numerous guys that had 20-goal seasons. It was really a successful season for the Blue Jackets. It just doesn't feel like it today because there are no playoffs. But that should not take away from what this team accomplished this year. And it certainly shouldn't dim the future for this club because the future is very bright, and they showed that. Just the development of young players and the good veteran players around them providing support. This team is going places, and now it has expectations. Believe me, when the group reconvenes in September for training camp, there won't be any talk about anything but making the postseason. That's where the expectations are now for this group, and those are great expectations to have. So let's talk to some of the players that were very instrumental in making this a great season. And we're going to start with a guy that has been fantastic. Well, he's been fantastic for years, but this year, from day one until day 82, he was phenomenal. And I'm talking about Blue Jackets defenseman Zach Werenski. Well, Zach, it was about a week ago that I remember coming up to you in the dressing room, and you guys were really struggling, and I said, you know, it's a shame and it's tough because you've been in it all season long, and then it's ending like this, where you guys were not playing your best hockey. And lo and behold, you turn around and you rip off 5 wins in a row, and you're in it until game number 81. But now that the 82 games have been played, what was your feeling just coming into the building today and, you know, having just a little bit of time to process?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of disappointment. I feel like we were in a wild card spot and kind of controlled our destiny for a majority of the season there towards the end, and then obviously fell short, played some tough hockey down the stretch. Proud of our group for how we responded the last, 6 games, but I feel like we were in such a good spot to make the playoffs and make a run, and at the end of the day, it falls on us to not get the job done, but definitely made some steps forward this year, and proud of the group for how we handled a lot of things. But at the end of the day, we do have to, make the playoffs to have success, and that's our focus come next year.
How did you get it back? I mean, really, because things were way off track as you compare a couple of weeks stretch to the way you guys played the entire season, and you were able to grab hold of it and give yourselves that last chance at the end. How'd you guys do it?
I think we were just playing with desperation. I don't really think much changed, but everyone was playing desperate hockey. We were playing together, all pulling in the same direction. And obviously Jet came in and played unbelievable for us. But at the end of the day, our whole team was just kind of playing with that desperation that we would have liked to see maybe a little bit earlier. That's how you win this time of year is playing that desperate hockey. The more desperate team usually finds a way to win, and it's a good learning experience for us, good learning lesson. I feel like now we know coming into next season, especially with the young group, how hard it is to win and make the playoffs, and definitely think it's going to only make our team better moving forward.
Can I ask you, when you're talking about that now you know and learning how to win thing, and yes, there are a lot of young guys in the room that have never gone through it. You've been in the playoffs before here, but it's been a couple of years, and it's been a couple of tough years in between playoff appearances here for you. Do you Do you forget that, or do you have to, or is it good to go through what you went through too, even as a veteran player, to remember how difficult it is just to get there and get the opportunity?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. It's great for everyone in that room to go through it. I feel like, obviously me, Boone, guys we brought in, JVR, JJ, like guys have been in the playoffs. It's been a while for me and Booner. So it is good to get reminded how small the margins of error can be to miss the playoffs. And you look back on certain games throughout the season where we played well and lost, or blew it late, or whatever it was, and you realize that those are huge points that are going to matter at the end of the season. And it's a great reminder for a lot of us. It's also a great reminder that it's super hard to win this time of year. And yeah, so I think for the young guys, for the older guys that haven't been there in a long time, I think everything that we've kind of gone through this season, we're going to take as a positive and learn from. But definitely a little bit disappointing that we're not playing this week.
I know that being in the playoffs is the most important thing to you, and I also know you don't talk very much throughout the season about your accomplishments and what you're doing. But look, it's over now, man. And you had 82 points, 82 games. You get 23 goals when it's all said and done. Have you thought about the season that you've had personally yet, and what an accomplishment it is to do what you've done?
Not really yet, I guess. I've had some texts last night and people today just, saying we should be proud of the way our team played this year and all that stuff. And, it's one of those things where really haven't looked back on it until 2 days ago. I was hoping we'd be playing this week, so I haven't really had time to look back on it and kind of just enjoy it, I guess. But definitely a special year. I feel like I had some personal goals coming into the season that I wanted to accomplish, and I feel like I did that. And the exciting part is now trying to build on that and do it again, and be this type of player for a number of years now for this organization. So I feel like I've set a standard for myself and set a bar where I'm going to continue to try and reach that. So I think that's the most exciting part for me.
What was the difference this year? And I know there have been a couple of seasons where health was a factor, but you were healthy all year. But it also seemed to me like you got back to being the guy that you are, where you're playing offense and defense, and you were able to freely roam and do whatever needed to be done in that situation. And when you do that, you always do it with confidence.
Yeah, I was just in a good frame of mind this season. I felt like I was just kind of letting the game come to me, and whatever it was giving me that night, I was just trying to take it, and I wasn't trying to do too much, just trying to play my game, and that's a lot of skating up and down the ice, trying to push the offense when I can, and definitely had a bigger focus on trying to be better on the defensive side of the puck, which I think I did, and I just wanted to help this team win, and I feel like for me a big part of that also is the summer I had last season. I had 2 full summers of training. The year before that, I was healthy finally, played last season, and I was healthy this past summer, so I feel like physically I was in a good spot too, to where I wasn't getting tired on back-to-backs. I wasn't getting tired in the full grind of an 82-game season. I felt like I feel like I still have energy to go play, which is exciting, and it's rewarding as well to know all the hard work you put in the summers pays off. And I feel like when you're in good shape and you have energy, you're going to play your best hockey, and I feel like I had that this year.
You've alluded to a couple of times how excited you are about what the future looks like here. I got to ask you about Denton Mateychuk. He starts the year in the American Hockey League. He comes up. He sticks right away. He's playing left side, second pair. I said this during the last game. I said, this guy, he has some of the attributes that you have. He plays the game in a similar way, especially when it comes to offense. And I feel that he got more confident in taking off offensively, going down the wall, taking more shots throughout the course of the year. When you look at him and watch how his game has progressed this year, how excited are you about a real possibility that between the two, one's on the top pair, one's on the second pair, and you're so similar and can bring a lot of the same traits?
Yeah, it's awesome. I think this year was probably it was great for him to spend some time in the American League, dominate there, and then come up here and make his mark. And I feel like it gives him a lot of confidence. I know I think he's going down for the playoffs for Cleveland, but I think this is just going to be a great year for him to take huge steps forward coming into next season, and that's exciting for our team. I think the way he plays the game, he's decisive, he makes decisions, and he goes with it. And that's hard to find as a young defenseman in this league. A lot of times when I was a younger guy, the mistakes I'd make was because I was caught in the middle. And I feel like with him, he's just so decisive. He makes a decision and he goes, and you can't really teach that. So obviously as the offense, you've seen it in the WHL, you've seen it in the American League, you saw it here this year, and he's just going to continue to get better and better. And yeah, it's great for this organization for a long time.
There were so many challenges this year, and it all started with the tragedy at the beginning with Johnny and Mathieu Gaudreau that really bonded you guys as a team, and you went out and just played for Johnny all year long. Now that it's over and you've got this group, and you know no matter what, it's not going to be this group next year. There's going to be some changes, whether guys leave via free agency or whatever the case may be. It's not going to be the same. So is it tough letting go of this particular group?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough at the end of the year when your teammates leave and, guys aren't going to be back. But I think this year, probably even more so. I feel like just with everything everyone's gone through in here together, I feel like, we were a truly special group and have a lot of love for all those guys in that locker room, and definitely going to be tough. But at the end of the day, I think, we all realize it's a business and it's part of it, and it's going to look a little bit different next year. So, I'll always have time for guys in that room, and hopefully we keep in touch because, like I said, it was a truly special group and a special year, and yeah, it's going to be a little bit different, but it's part of the business and what you sign up for.
You played a lot of hockey this year, not only the NHL schedule, you played in the Four Nations face-off. I'm assuming you're not going to play any World Championship, and you're going to give yourself a little bit of time, right?
Yeah, I know I'm not going to go. It's, it's something I've thought about for the last few weeks, if we weren't to make the playoffs, if I'd go or not. And I think just with how busy my summer is, we're getting married, 4 or 5 weddings we have to go to. One's in Europe already. So, yeah, it would just be a lot. And I feel like for me to be my best next season, I need to get in the gym and start working when I get home here. So, yeah, I love playing for USA Hockey. It's just not going to work this year.
Yeah, well, next year you've got the Blue Jackets season, and there is that Olympic tournament, too, that I'm sure you very much are hoping to be a part of.
Yeah, I hope so. A lot of hockey to be played between now and then, so hopefully I'm on the team, and yeah, I guess we'll see.
I think you had a pretty good audition at the Four Nations.
Yeah, I don't want to get ahead of myself.
I know,
so
but it was
a lot of work to be put in still.
If it was a job interview, it was a good interview.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'll put it to you that way. Anything else planned this summer? I guess not. If you're going to 5 weddings and you're getting married yourself, you got no time.
Yeah, not really. My one good friend's getting married in Greece, so we're making like a 3-week trip out of that and bounce around Europe for a bit, and then I'm actually going to Ireland for golf at the end of June for a couple days, and yeah, just living it up. And then we're going to enjoy our wedding in July and get ready for the season. So it's going to fly by.
You work out on those trips?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not a big like sitting around type of person. I like getting in the gym. I like going for walks and seeing stuff.
Like you scout out a gym, or are you just going to the hotel, or
yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, usually most hotels have something I can makeshift or kind of figure something out in there. But if not, or whether it's a run or finding a gym, I feel like if we're gone for 20 days, I'll try and work out 16, 17 of them. So yeah, I can't just sit around on vacation. I'd rather go see some stuff and do some cool stuff. So. Yeah, we're gonna be on vacation, but it's still gonna be work.
Seems like a run in Greece would be pretty nice. Let me know if it is.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll send you a picture.
All right, cool. Zach, thank you very much. Hey, it's always a pleasure to watch you play, and I really mean that. But this season was really special, and not just to watch you on the ice, but off the ice, and the way that you grew as a leader and a representative for this team. I'm very proud to have you as part of this team and you representing the Blue Jackets, and I truly, truly mean that. So have a great summer. Best of luck with your travels and, of course, your wedding, and be ready to go here in October.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. I appreciate that.
Here's 5 reasons to place your deposit on Blue Jackets ticket plans for the 25-26 season. 1. Choose the games you just gotta see. 2. Plans start at just 11 games. 3. Flexible payment plans. 4. Bonus tickets for friends and family. And 5. A ticket trade program for games you can't make. The time to act is now. Visit BlueJackets.com/tickets.
All right, we just talked with Zach Werenski of the Blue Jackets. He's on the blue line. Now we're going to move to the forwards, and Mathieu Olivier is sitting down with me right now. And Mathieu, what a season, man. I mean, I know you worked so hard during the offseason last year just to work on different aspects of your game, but could even you have imagined that the season that you would have was so good and so productive, especially when it comes to goals with 18 of them?
Well, I think I could imagine it for sure. It really all came together this year, and I always believed that it was something I could do as far as the production, but the impact that I wanted to have on the game. And yeah, like I said, it all came together this year. It's been a good one. Team did well, so I'm excited. I mean, for me, it's just kind of the work's just getting started, right? And that's the big thing I take away is that now that I can do it, you got to do it consistently. So.
Yeah, now you put the pressure on you, right?
I wouldn't say pressure. I would say just, expectations and out of myself. And I'm not talking about outside expectations. People can have their own opinions and ideas, but as far as my personal expectations, that kind of raises the bar for sure.
A couple of years ago, you get traded here from Nashville. Could you have ever speculated at that time that things would take off like they have for you, where you become such a very important part of this organization?
Yeah, I think so. I always believed in myself, but I always believed in the role that I provide. I think it's important. I think there's a lot of stuff that people don't see on the ice that comes with it. But again, you have to be able to play. You can't, nowadays in this league, you can't just be one-dimensional a fighter. You got to bring other stuff, and that was always the goal for me, to showcase, personally, as far as my role and stuff, what I can do, and have a complete game. And yeah, I mean, like I said, the bar has risen now. So, are you ever shocked when people talk about you as being the toughest guy in the NHL? Because I've heard it many times all year. Yeah, it is. It's weird to hear. Not that I don't believe in myself, but it's obviously a tough league and a man's league still, and yeah, but it's something you gotta, if people say that about you and suddenly you stop doing your job, then that goes away, right? So like I said, it's about consistency, that as well, and the way you play on the ice also helps that, right? If you're just kind of that guy, it doesn't help. It doesn't have the same kind of presence, and I always believed that, and so I always felt the most effective guys in that role were guys that could play and contribute night in, night out. So it really is a full circle and really complete effort that you need to put in, including that toughness part. I've talked to guys who were kind of more back in the day where the toughness thing was the big thing and the playing thing was, if we get to that, we get to that. And in talking to them, they talked about how they would spend the day looking at the other guy on the other roster and thinking about the confrontation they knew that was coming that night. And it was kind of a mental situation all day long. Yeah. And I'm sure you do the same thing to an extent, but you're out there playing and you're pulling regular shifts. Does that help to just kind of alleviate all of that? Because you're thinking about all aspects of the game, not just the one. Well, if you think, I'll say this, if you think about the fights or whoever's on the other side, it does not help your play, because it's obviously a lot of stress and nervous, and you don't sleep as well, and we're all human. No matter how tough you are, you go through that because there's always someone ready for you. My approach has always been to focus on the game, but I'm always ready for that part of it as well. So I focus on the game. I try to bring my mind to what I'm going to accomplish on the ice, and then if it happens, then I'm ready to go. But if I start thinking I have to fight and then play, for me personally, that doesn't work as well. If I think about playing and then the fighting kind of happens, that's where I have a little more success. I want to ask you about the Washington game, the afternoon game where all the fights were going on, and actually they were going on around you. Everybody else was fighting, and you were. And then Pierre-Luc Dubois hits Jordan Harris. Dmitry Voronkov comes over. You come over. Tom Wilson grabbed you from behind and drug you away from that. And I don't know if you can tell me exactly what the conversation was right there, but it seemed to me from up top it was like, you and I don't need to do this today. This is not us. Everybody's taking care of it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the gist of it. Yeah. I'm not going to go deeper into it. Obviously, the game after kind of all went down really early for me. So, well, as soon as Dylan McElligott was on the roster, I'm sure you figured it was going to go down early the next day. I figured it was a possibility, but again, I wasn't thinking about it. Right. And then he hopped on, kind of just nodded at me and nodded back. We knew exactly what our job was going to be. But again, like that game, we kind of took it to them, not only on the scoreboard, but physically as well. And it was a clean game. No one did anything dirty. But all hits were clean. And that's what it's about, you know. And I really, those 2 games were really fun to be a part of, because that was as close to playoff hockey as sadly we're going to get this year. But it gave us a taste at what we're expecting out of ourselves next year and for years to come. And how we responded was fantastic, I felt like.
How much have you enjoyed becoming a bigger leader on this team? And I know that guys usually will say, well, you have to be playing well if you really want to be able to speak up and be heard and be respected in the room. You can't be a guy that's going to play, 4 or 5 minutes a night. As you said, you're respected as a fighter, but if you're not playing regular shifts, maybe you don't talk as much. But you're playing those shifts. You're scoring those goals. You were able to become a really big part in all facets here this year. And how enjoyable was that for you?
Well, it was a good year. It was fun to be a part of this group, and really what we were striving to accomplish, and we fell short, and no one's going to shy away from that. But again, the way we took a step this year was very fun to enjoy. And leadership's not something it's just something that by doing your job and showing up to the rink every day and being yourself, that's just something that comes naturally. And like you said, your top players are your leaders. And I look at our group, and you got Boone, Z, Monty, Goody, Curls, all the guys that had letters on their jerseys. Like, they're the top players and the leaders because of how they work. And it's not the rah and all that good stuff. That it really is what they bring on the ice, and then the rest kind of just falls into place. So for me, it was about emulating that and trying to bring what I can bring every day. And if that puts you in a leadership position, great. But as far as leaders, those are definitely the guys that I look to and try to follow and emulate. Yeah.
You played with a lot of different guys throughout the course of the year, a lot of time with Zach Aston-Reese and Justin Danforth. But right at the end, in the last couple of weeks, playing with Cole Sillinger and Dmitry Voronkov, how fun was that for you? Because it, especially by the Islander game, it looked like you guys had found your whole stride as a line and were just clicking with each other.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. Me and Silly were just talking about it last night, at how excited we are at getting back to it and really having the opportunity of becoming an effective line. But I don't want to take away from what Danny and Reeser and I had as well. That was a really good line, and we had some success there too. And went through a little bit of a scoring drought at some point, but it wasn't from playing badly. But that just speaks to our team and how easy it is to play with everyone on this roster, because everyone does their job, and everyone really takes pride in the role they play. And some guys go a little unnoticed, but not to their teammates, and that was the big thing. And so this year, I never felt, whatever the line combination that we had and I was on, I never felt like it was different or it didn't work as well. It always felt like we found a way to have an impact on the game. And like you said, those two lines specifically, but even other combos we had this year was really enjoyable to be part of and effective.
When you are a team that gets into the playoffs, as you're expecting to do next year right away, you have to have a good core, and you build around a core. And the last time this team was in the playoffs consistently, it had that. Those guys moved on, and now you have to replace it. But with the Cole Sillingers and the Kent Johnsons and the Adam Fantillis and Boone and Zach and yourself, do you feel like that core is here and you guys are ready to go?
Yeah, I feel that way. You talked about our young guys were Fantilli, KJ, Marchi. Those are a few names that pop up in my mind where they really stepped up this year, and our team stepped up as well. So that's no coincidence. We always had our big guys going. Z obviously had a point per game season as a defenseman, which is completely insane.
I just talked to him about that. He downplayed it.
No, but that's who he is. He honestly, it's incredible to watch. But he's part of it. But everyone in their own way stepped up this year, and like you said, that core group, everyone wants to be here, and everyone wants to be a part of what we're building. And no one's happy how it finished. Like we won 6 in a row, but we fell short. And to an extent, you could always say that, there's stretches in the year where we could have gotten the job done and we didn't. But again, it's a good learning experience. But next year, in our minds, we're making playoffs. There's no other option here. So just speaks to the maturity and the experience of our group and where we're headed. And yeah, very proud of them.
And there are going to be changes here. It's inevitable. Every team has some kind of change from year to year. I really feel like, in talking to other people around the league throughout the course of this season especially, that this is a destination place. I mean, other players know what you guys have going here. Other players are interested in what you guys have going here, whether it be free agency, whether it be a trade. I think there are a lot of players that would like to become part of this group. Do you agree?
I think so. I think especially how we're trending right now, and what we're building here. But the one thing that comes out is, I always tell people this, that growing up in Quebec after we moved back from the States, the last place you hear about is Columbus, weirdly enough. And then you find out, and I came here, I find out all about the city and all aspects of it, and everyone, just like me, is blown away. It's just such a hidden gem, and it's almost like the players kind of want to keep it that way, because we're like, this is awesome. We have a nice little something that no one else knows. But everyone that comes here is blown away by the setup, the city, the fans, and a lot of them stick around after, and that says a lot. So. Yeah, I mean, we all love it here, and we hope to build something very special for the years to come.
What else you have on tap for the summer with you and the family?
Well, a lot of family time, obviously. My kids are 5 and almost 4 now, so that's a lot of starting up in sports. And I was just at a skating lesson this morning with my youngest, and I try to invest a lot of time in them, but obviously big summer training. Again, I had a good year, but we're always trying to build and get better, and same approach as I always had. And so it's going to be hard training and family time, like I always do.
Enjoy your summer with the family. Enjoy the workouts, and I can't wait to see you back here in September getting ready for that playoff run.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
That's awesome.
Mathieu, Olivier here on CBJ in 30, presented by Pedialyte. We'll take a break and come back and close things out. Thanks to Mathieu, Olivier, and Zach Werenski for being a part of the final CBJ in 30 presented by Pedialyte of the season. Those are just 2 of the great leaders on this team. They are 2 of the guys that have this team steered in the right direction. And as I said earlier, this is a team that comes back in the fall with expectations to make the playoffs. And the expectations are not just going to be in their room. Next year, you're not going to hear NHL pundits talk about the Blue Jackets finishing near the bottom of the standings. They are going to talk about the fact that this team needs to build upon what it did this year and feel that they will and get better and make the playoffs. And that is a great place to be. I want to take just a second and thank you for being there all year, for watching this program and all of the other programs that we have, for watching the games on FanDuel Sports, for listening to the games on the Blue Jackets Radio Network. It has truly been a pleasure to bring you all of this content with the Blue Jackets. And I hope you've gotten a great chance to get to know our players a little bit through all of the things that we've done this year. But again, thank you for being there. If you're not there, I'm not here. So I appreciate it, as does everybody here with the Blue Jackets. I'd like to thank Andy Hookman for producing this show. Dave Traub has been a big part of helping us get this thing put together and get it on week in and week out throughout the course of the season. So thanks to those guys for the hard work they do behind the scenes. And that is going to do it for CBJ in 30, presented by Pedialyte. I'm Bob McElligott. So long.